Hey guys, it's Tillman again, Rogue Monkey, and I'm going to be doing yet another 4-gate replay. Uh, so in the last game I talked a lot about, the opening and sort of the things you got to do right. And in this game you're going to see it's a little bit, it's a little bit shakier. And I guess that kind of showcases the strength of 4-gate and why it's such a popular build these days. And you're also going to see 4-gate's really not as much of an all-in build as, honestly, I feel like it should be. If it's really easy to do enough damage and kill enough drones that you're not really far behind, even though you cut probes at a really, pretty early time and you don't have an expansion on the way. It's a pretty easy build to recover from a somewhat failed attack with. And so this game, you're going to see a little bit of a longer game, and we can talk some more about transitioning out of a 4-gate attack. And so yeah, I'm basically doing the same stuff in this game as I did the last game. You're going to see me try to keep my drone alive as long as I physically can. And both games I was trying to do my a 15 hatchery build, because I really do think that's the strongest build in Zerg vs Protoss and Zerg vs Terran as well. But like I said, a good Protoss is always going to block the 15 hatchery, so this build's fine too. If you're doing this build, make sure you always make 4-lings. 2, it's actually not enough. They can just keep building and canceling like a cybernetics core or something, or extra pylons, and they can really mess your build up just by delaying it a ridiculous amount, delaying your hatchery a ridiculous amount. So you really need to make sure you have 4-lings. It also makes it easier for scouting, so you can have like 2 on the towers and then 1 at the ramp or whatever, and 1 to deny probes. So this game, just a quick thing, is I tried to do. It's something you can try if you can start an extractor like right when their stalker finishes, and your drone has more HP. You can basically you can tank the stalker with the extractor, and then sort of cancel it after maybe 1 or 2 rounds, and then you can scout around, because they basically have to start their tech buildings at that point. But I didn't do it quite right. My drone was almost dead by the time I started the extractor, so I didn't get to see it as much as I should have. So far I've seen 3 gateways, an extremely late gas, because I know my drone was live. So I mean, like I said, just like last game, I'm not 100% sure it's a 4-gate at this point, but I've seen the 2 stalkers and the zealot and the 3 gateways and the very late gas, and these are all really good indications he's going for a 4-gate. And honestly, at this point, I probably should have reacted better, which is part of the reason you're going to see this game not go nearly as well for me. I'm just now starting the Roach Warren, the Spine Crawler is just now starting. I really need to put it a little bit more to the left, because you're going to see why it's so important for it to be more to the left, because it's really important that you block the ramp with it. I am starting Zergling production, so that'll help, but this attack's definitely going to be more difficult to hold off. And so one thing you want to be doing is trying to figure out where the units are warping in from, and trying to maybe take out the pylon they're coming from, or snipe individual units as they're warping in. Anything to slow the push down you basically want to do. So in this situation right now, I really am not as well prepared as I should be. It's going to be really tough to hold off. I have 1 roach in production. I'm almost supply blocked. I don't have any overlords on the way. I kind of panicked a little bit, and this is just basically the worst possible situation to be in as a Zerg. The optimal engagement is you send your Zerglings around and behind, or up the side and behind, and you're engaging the stalkers with your Zerglings, keeping them from kiting, and you want to have like 4 or 5 roaches up front, and the roaches are going to be attacking the zealots and kiting them. And so yeah, I'm going to try to do that, but it's really hard to do, obviously, if you don't have any roaches, and I didn't really have a choice but to let him up the ramp here, because the way I did it, his zealots were trapped, and I guess that's as good as it could possibly be for me, but you can see I just don't have enough Zerglings to really effectively hold this off. But and letting a Protoss into your main is really bad, especially if they have sentries. So I'm actually really lucky that he doesn't have any sentries in this case, but if he did, it'd be even worse for me. So right now, what you want to be making sort of a Roach Zergling mix, and microing as best you can, and as you can see, I'm not microing terribly well. I misclicked there. It's difficult, and I got supply blocks, he killed some overlords, but yeah, you basically want to just sort of see what kind of units he's warping in, and basically you counter zealots with roaches, and you counter stalkers with zerglings. And you attack with drones if you have to. It's obviously you don't want to, but you also don't want to lose the game. So in this situation, I'm going to try to get a surround in the stalkers with all my drones and sort of pin these zealots up there with the spine crawler. And so right now I'm holding him off just barely. I mean, I'm really not in the best spot at all. I'm down to 14 harvesters compared to his 23. And at this point in time, I wouldn't say either one of us is really too far ahead or behind. We're both very low tech. My economy is a bit worse, but you know, the real strength of the Zerg is being able to pump out ridiculous amounts of drones. So in a situation like this, where you just barely held off their 4-gate, the first thing you want to do is see what they're doing, because you know they can do a few different things. They can do some sort of tech build after it, where they go Stargate tech, Void Ray, quick Void Rays, Dark Templar, something like that, to just exploit the fact that they slowed you down a lot. Another thing they can do is a much more standard sentry expand, which is probably the most common thing you can do, is, you know, just make an expansion with sentries behind it. It's really safe. It's a good way to maintain your harvester lead and sort of, you know, move the game towards the mid game. You can do, and then you can also do some sort of super aggressive like 5-gate play after this, or even just stick on 4 gates and try to hit them while they rebuild their economy. And those are probably the three most common builds. So the first thing you want to be doing is killing the forward pylons, killing scouting probes, and really make a couple. You want to make a couple rounds of harvesters, because especially in this case, because I killed off his entire army. I know I'm not in any imminent danger because I still have a good amount of zerglings, so I'm not really worried about dying right now. So it's a good idea to make some zerglings, but you don't want to overdo it until you know what they're doing. You don't want to overdo it until you have a good idea of what kind of build they're going for. So you want to do pokes up the ramp. I see the sentry, I see the zealot. So I'm thinking, okay, he's clearly worried about a counterattack to some extent. He might be trying to expand off of it, or he might be going some sort of tech build and he wants to, be super safe, protect his ramp with force field. So after that, it's a good idea to come in with overlords, just like this, scout the corners of his base. And in this case, you can't see it anymore, but he was building a Stargate, and I saw that when I was scouting. So I think the most common thing with Stargates, especially if it's not scouted, is probably just Void Rays, try to end the game, or do some sort of 4-gate, 3-gate Void Ray push towards my main or natural, and just try to end the game basically. You can also do some sort of Phoenix play where you just harass them and try to get back into the game that way. But looks like he's going for Phoenixes this game. Unfortunately, this isn't the best game. He's like a mid-tier Masters player. It's not someone I'd really lose a game to. So it's perhaps not the best showcase of the proper Protoss response, but I guess you can see sort of my thought process when I was reacting to him. So I think I saw his hatchery go down, or not yet, but I'm gonna see it in a minute. And so I have the Zerglings. It's never a good idea to have idle units, so I'm just trying to be annoying as I can with them. Ideally I'd waste some force fields, kill some probes, damage the Nexus, whatever. Just, keep him busy. And at the same time, making some more queens, because I know there's Phoenixes, and there's a good chance I'll lose some queens. And obviously Hydras are a good counter to Phoenixes. So I think in this situation, a really good counter to what they're doing is just sort of a really strong high economy 2-gate timing attack. You can do an even more macro strategy, but I think that's a really good reaction to a build like this, where if they get any kind of high Templar or Robo attack, it's going to be really, really delayed because they've invested a lot in both the 4-gate and the Phoenix play. So that's what you're going to see me do. I saturated both my main and my natural, and I'm getting up an evolution chamber for upgrades, and I've got Hydra range, Roach range completed, and at this point I'm basically just pumping out pure Hydra Roach. It's a good idea to always clear out these rocks before you move out, just so you can expand behind it if you want to, but in this case I was really confident that my push would kill him, and I didn't want to weaken the push by expanding behind it, so I just kept rallying Roaches and Hydras, and I just basically decided I was going to finish him off here because I knew he'd done absolutely nothing with the Phoenix Ras. And it's good to have Burrow at this point. I recommend Burrow 100% of the time in ZVP. To be honest, I just forgot it. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. In this situation, it would have been great because you had a photon cannon for detection. But it's good to have, especially if you get caught with force fields. And yeah, his macro slipped. He wasn't the best player, so it was pretty easy for me to overwhelm him and GG him. But yeah, I hope the analysis was helpful. I know 4-gate's a really tough build. I struggle with it a ton. It's one of the hardest builds for me to deal with, actually. But I hope I hope you guys got some more information for dealing with some of the warning signs and how to react properly to it. Thanks for watching.